please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call roll.
Paul Cassidy.
Here.
Tanya Hogan. Here. Jerry Golka.
Here.
Mark Burchard.
Here.
Maureen Bory.
Here.
Brian Campbell.
Here.
John DeBoyer.
Here. Do we have anybody who would like to make a public comment?
Yeah, I will. Hello, Artie Bryson, 8356 South Channel Drive. Believe me, I'd rather not be here tonight, but I feel that I have to. I saw this, or I heard this rumor going around that the board was going to reallocate ARPA funds and give it to HIDA, and I thought, I didn't think that's true, but then I see today already on HIDA's agenda for this coming Saturday, they're accepting ARPA money, amount $217,000. So I thought, well, it must be true. I'm not sure where you would be getting these ARPA funds, but I know the township allocated for revenue replacement, $150,000 for water, and I think it was $88,000 or something for police. And they did that, and now they're sitting in their general funds, or their funds for water and police. Those are restricted funds. And you're not allowed to take money from water and spend it on anything else but water. Can't even take water and spend it on sewer. Same thing with police. So I emailed Jerry to see if that was their intention or what the intentions were. I didn't get an answer. So I hope that's not the case that you're doing tonight. So thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
Christy Bottle, 2979 Fruit Street. I wasn't planning on speaking, and I've just been quietly watching a lot of the politics that have been happening. And I'm a resident of Clay Township. I'm a business owner currently in Algonac. We are very in tune to what's happening with the politics, both in Algonac and Clay Township, because we have what I would consider pretty big plans for the future of our business. And we have some very big decisions to make in the next 2 years of where our business is going to be located. And I know there's a lot of people concerned. I want to give you guys a chance. And I hope you guys make the right decisions that's best for the community as a whole and for the local businesses and possible future businesses in Clay Township.
Thank you. Anybody else? With that, we'll close public comment. We'll go to new business. Number 1, review of and allocation of remaining ARPA funds.
Okay. I'm going to give everybody a summary of the ARPA funds that we have. Originally, we were given from the Treasury $935,499.78 for ARPA COVID funds. In 2022, we obligated $103,250 for first responders as a bonus. In 2023, we obligated $6,350 for engineering for the Harson's Wheel, algae wheel. That left a balance of $826,899 to be used. It is suggested that these funds are spent on something of the township, in the township would not normally spend their money on. See attached to the board. See attached itemized sheet showing actual dollars spent and what is still available to allocate. Board committed $305,000 to fire pumper, leaving a balance of $59,208.73. That will be moved over to the ARPA funds because that was over the budget. Board budgeted $48,647 to DPW for an excavator, leaving a balance of $4,624.49 to be moved to the ARPA funds available to ARPA. And the two amounts add up to $63,833.22. Subtracting the $826,899.76 from the actual total spent of $653,307.13 leaves an amount of $173,592.65. Adding in the amount that was over budgeted of $59,208.73 from fire and $4,624 from DPW leaves a total of $237,425.87 to be obligated before December 31st, 2024. Included but not mentioned above is $150,000 that was moved into the water fund by previous board to pay for meters that were already purchased in October of 2024. As the board mentioned, this board can move these funds at their direction, and I recommend we do. My first motion I make is to move $59,208.73 from the fire department fund to Fund 206, from Fund 206 to be spent as ARPA funds. This is the difference between the fire pumper budget and actual cost.
Can you read that amount for me again, please?
$59,208.73.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so I've got some questions. So the 305 that was allotted for the fire pumper
Right.
was not, we only spent 254,000?
No, you spent
$364,000.
$64,208. So it was, and the previous board only said $305,000 could be used for that.
Understood, from ARPA. But where does the 59,208 come from?
When you said
That's the difference between the 364 actual minus the 305 in the budget.
So the actual was more than what we allotted? Am I following that right?
Yes, yes.
So how is there a balance?
There's not a balance. We're pulling it from the fire fund and putting it in.
Okay,
Do you remember when we had the meeting, we told Chief Rose that we were going to spend $305,000, and he'd have to take the other
out of his budget.
out of his budget,
Okay.
which is that $59,208.73.
Right.
So that's, that's what he's talking about, so
I'm just not following the math, I apologize, but.
that's okay.
Hey,
So-
it took me a while.
Same thing with the
So my
excavator.
other question is, in regards to DPW, I think there was more allotted in ARPA funds. I showed, we had $150K in vac truck, which I know we transferred for meters, $75 for a pole barn.
Right, the pole barn, I need an obligation. I need either a contract or I need a paid receipt on it by December 31st.
Okay.
I have that.
Okay.
Everything that I'm doing right now, I
So we're just
have,
throwing that out the window then?
we're moving it,
We're just throwing that out the window and saying you can't have a pole barn?
unless he gets me a receipt.
Okay, has there been any discussion with our DPW superintendent and where that stands?
I haven't talked to him, but I mean, you can see in the rules in there, I have to have it by the 31st.
Have you had any discussion, Lance, with anybody
You have
in
no
regards to this
contract or
pole barn
anything?
construction?
No, but I've got quotes.
I need a signed contract or paid receipt. Quotes does
I just
not
feel
work.
like we're pulling the rug out from underneath what we already committed to. Mini excavator, what was that cost?
That was,
But we're on line one right now.
I
This is the-
understand, but I'm
okay.
trying to get my math where it needs to be.
Okay.
that was 55, I believe it was.
It's right here, $53,271.49, and we budgeted $48,647. It's right your second line on the
Okay, so-
green paper. So
So that's not included in these, in the summary.
it is.
What are we calling that, an excavator?
So it says,
Excavator, yeah.
yeah, the second line on the explanation of attachment, board budgeted $48,647 to DBW excavator, leaving a balance of $4,624 because actually $53,000 was spent. That can be moved because that was over budget.
Okay. On the $150,000 for the meters, hasn't that already been spent?
Was spent in October.
That was spent before the ARPA funds was even moved in there.
But the township board reimbursed the water department.
Originally, it wasn't going to be because they were going to buy that vac. and-
Correct. But then we reimbursed the water department
Right,
$150,000.
but that was done,
So are we pulling that
the last
out?
meeting that was done, I mean, that should have been something.
We're pulling that out of the water department?
Yeah, we're pulling that back out.
That was done by that was done by the lame duck board.
Right.
And they said that this new board could make changes to this. Supervisor Bryson said straight out, the new board doesn't have to do this, but I want to make sure it's budgeted so we don't lose the money.
Okay, so we put money into the water department, restricted funds, and we can now pull that out and transfer that and call it ARPA again?
Yes.
We can?
Yes.
That's 100% legal?
Let's ask the attorney right there.
It hasn't been reported yet as ARPA funds.
John, we got legal counsel on that right there.
I don't know who he is.
Oh,
Mr.
introduce
Adams.
yourself.
My name is Albert Addis, and I'm trying to help with this thing as legal counsel. I represent a number of municipalities. I believe that the moving of these funds is legal. Okay? Now, ARPA is, no matter how you shake it, still a new program in the world. There may be challenges available. My opinion is that these moves are legal.
So we
But,
can,
hold on, before we go further, okay? I give my legal opinions in written form when asked by the board. I don't give legal opinions off the top of my head in an open meeting. If asked for a legal opinion, I'll provide one. You've asked for one, you're in a new situation. My opinion is, it's legal.
so is this our township council now?
Well, we haven't decided yet. I mean, we haven't made a switch. We've asked him for services. He's provided them.
Okay, because I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I haven't seen you.
Well, I've got a telephone, I've got email.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I'm off on another planet.
Transparency.
Okay, so we're gonna pull the rug on the $150K out of the water department, and we're gonna pull the rug on the $75K for the pole barn for the DPW that we agreed to. And then where are we gonna move that to? Has there been
Well, I
another?
think Jerry's going to make different
Right,
motions
there's
on that. but
different
the board-
motions, so
then
let's start
board
with the
can
first one, get a
discuss it.
vote, and then move down the line. These are all different motions that we're doing tonight.
So,
But you know what I find very ironic is that in the November 18th meeting, Supervisor Bryson, I found it at the 1 hour 58-minute mark. He said there's $238,000 of ARPA funds that haven't been allocated. They left us with no information. And I just want to commend this board, how hard they've been working. You know, Jerry worked with the auditors, figured this out to, $237,425. So when they said $238,000, he found it exactly where the numbers were. He's been working till all hours of the night. Tanya's been working like crazy, so has Paul. I mean, we did not get left with information, John.
I
You know,
understand, I'm not disputing that, Maureen.
So they were just compiled, it was hard.
I'm not disputing that, Maureen. My concern is,
I know, but I
my
just
concern is we committed to departments, and now we're just pulling the rug and going, nah, never mind, we're gonna do something
I
different.
don't think there was a commitment to that. It was said
Absolutely
they
there was, Paul.
allocated it, but.
Absolutely there was, Paul.
Wait. But there was the exception that they put it in there, but Mr. Bryson indicated that it could be pulled out.
Well, I understand it could be.
Yeah.
But my issue is, why are we doing it? Why did we tell our department heads that, yeah, okay, here's what we're gonna do with the money, and now tonight we're gonna go, never mind, that's off the table, we're doing something different? Why are we doing that?
Well, water meters, first of all, are not a special purchase. We purchase water meters all the time. ARPA funds is supposed to be used for something that we wouldn't normally buy.
We reimburse the water department.
It's supposed to be used for something we wouldn't normally buy.
Well, I can tell
And
you,
I think we've got some concerns with the community, you know, that you'll see on the motions that might be made where we can discuss where the money's gonna go. You could make a motion to put it back in the water fund.
I
you know what I mean?
understand that,
So.
but
I
I'm
mean,
trying to figure out why we're doing what we're doing.
for the best.
We believe the money can be better used elsewhere.
Okay,
Certainly I do.
okay.
All right, I think we need funding for the Harson's Island Transportation Authority to get some studies done. Upon completion of those studies, we can then move forward with federal funding. I've talked to Lisa McLean's office. They say there are millions of dollars available for ferries. I've been told that from her people.
Okay.
But we have to complete a study in order to
I understand.
to apply for that funding. So
Mr. Supervisor?
That would be my reason.
Okay, and with all due respect, Mr. Supervisor, I don't care if there's a dozen ferries to that, and I have no horse in that race. That's fine. I understand the island's concerns. I understand what they need and want. My concern is, this is township money that we have allocated to township departments to better serve our residents, and now we're going to pull that out, and you're telling me we're going to give it to an autonomous body, HIDA, to do studies for a ferry?
Absolutely.
Okay, that to me is really bad government.
Well, I don't think it is, because, HIDA was here earlier in the year asking for funding.
I understand.
They were told that they couldn't have it because they didn't qualify. That was not true, all right?
So,
So now we go ahead and allocate it for things like, we painted the Colony Tower. Would the money have been better spent giving it to HIDA or to paint the Colony Tower for the citizens in our community?
I mean, that's a question you'd have to ask the township citizens, but I can tell you that the millage for what HIDA was trying to accomplish a year ago failed. And that was Harson's Island people that shot that down. So I think if you ask the township as a whole, would you rather have the Colony Tower painted or a study done for a ferry? They're going to say Colony Tower painted, would be my guess.
I would disagree, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
Then we can respectfully disagree.
I'll tell you why. I believe that the island's economy is completely depressed because of the cost of travel over
That
there.
may be.
And the safety.
And with a new ferry system, we could revitalize that part of our community, which would benefit the entire community as a whole. Now, I believe that.
Okay, and I'm not going to argue with on that because I don't know.
Well, and there's safety concerns.
Right,
There are
I was
safety-
watching a few YouTubes from 4 years ago when a dock disintegrated, a power line went down, and people couldn't even get their kids from
And Jerry,
school.
I'm not going to dispute it because
Okay.
what's going on with the ferry and all that is between the Islanders and Champions.
You
But
make it
No,
sound
that's
like the
part-
Islanders are not part of Clay Township.
that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's what you make it sound
But
like.
understand that they are the only ones that utilize that ferry. The
No, they're
mainlanders
not.
don't.
No, they're not. When I went door to door, I met a lot of people that said, you know what? I'd have bought property on Harson's Island, but I'm not paying that rate to go over there.
I'm one
I
of
met
that.
people
I did that. I did not
that
buy
told
it
me
because
that
of
over and over again.
So you honestly think that that's money spent
Better
better?
spent, better spent, I
Okay.
believe.
Well,
All right, well, I
the
guess we
ferry
just
has
disagree.
received no attention for over 12 years. They have received no attention and no support.
That may be. I'm not
And-
up to speed on the
And
ferry. I don't
Hy-
even
well,
keep track of it, to be
Hy-
honest with you.
Well, we do a lot of things for the mainland. We've spent $580,000 to buy this property next to the Colony Bowl with no environmental, $290,000 per lot, and there's 2 lots. Well, all right, $290,000 then, all right? With no Phase 1 environmental study, it's contaminated, we turned it into a community garden. We've tried to do some things for the mainland. We do a lot, but the whole community needs to come together. And people like to go to San Souci. I've talked to people who said, I used to have my birthday parties there, but I can't ask guests to come there. They're not going to each spend $15 to come to my party over there.
But Maureen, I don't look at it as what we're doing for the island or for the mainland. I look at it as, I don't believe that's money well spent.
Well, that's your opinion.
That's correct, it is.
The island, we feel the island is a gem, and the population is down because it's so expensive. Families can't live there, people can't enjoy it. Used to be 4 party stores, there's 1. Now we gotta pay $7, $8 for a gallon of milk. There used to be all these other businesses open, there's nothing there anymore hardly. So this could turn things around and really help the whole township.
I have a question actually pertaining to the motion. So you're saying that there's this, the fire department went over their budget, but he had to use from his budget
Right.
So how are we getting this 59,000 if it came out of his budget?
His motion says to move it out, to move the 59,000 out. So we report the 305,000 as ARPA money spent that we committed.
Right.
And the difference, see the over-under, the 59,208.73? That will be removed from,
The fire department's budget?
yes, from the fire department.
Did we pay for the whole thing?
Well, they got the.
Or did they pull from their budget and now we're just taking from their budget the overage?
Let's defund them.
You gotta answer
It
that,
ha-
Jerry.
It's all been paid out of the fire
Right.
budget.
Did he get a fire pump?
Okay.
So it's not ARPA funds?
I think it's ordered.
But we want the 305,000 to be ARPA funds that we'll report.
Right, so where are we getting the 59 from if we did not use that as ARPA funds?
We're bringing it
So
up.
we're
from the
taking-
budget.
We're just doing it from budget.
So we're taking from his budget
Yeah.
when we told him he could have ARPA funds, so now we're taking money.
It was
from his budget.
It was for a fire pumper.
Right, fire pumper, 305,000.
I understand, but he went over budget.
No, we knew it was going to be more. When we had our meeting, they knew it was going to be 350 or 360,000 for the fire pumper. And the board said, we'll give you 305,
Okay,
and the rest of it you can pay for out of your budget, and Chief Rose agrees. Am I right, Chief? Chief? That's what happened, right? You were at the meeting with us. And we said, we're going to give you 305,000, and whatever goes over that, which you thought it was 355, I think at the time, and it ended up being 364.
Right, that's in capital outlay of my budget.
Right.
Okay.
okay,
we
so
agreed to that.
but the $59,000 we're taking, he used from his budget. It wasn't ARPA funds.
So maybe the motion is wrong, maybe it's we have to take the 305,000 out?
I don't think we should be taking, like, I think he should get his ARPA funds, but I don't think we should be taking money from his budget that you agreed to give him $305 and then he could take money from his budget. That's not taking ARPA funds, that's taking his budget.
And that also would apply to the 150,000 out of the water department in the same manner. We're taking that out of the water department now, which is a restricted fund, and calling it ARPA money again to transfer it to apparently HIDA.
But ARPA was paid that 150.
He agreed to spend the 59,000 out of his budget. He agreed to do that.
Right,
And we
but I don't-
agreed to give him 305,000 in ARPA funds. That's all we're trying to do.
I know, but it sounds like this laying out, saying that we're taking the 59,000 and putting it back in ARPA funds, that's not ours to take.
Well,
That's his budget, it's not ARPA money.
It would be better stated if it would says we'll take from the 305,000 to 59,000.
But then we're,
Then aren't we taking out ARPA funds? I mean, it's a matter of,
Well, in actuality, they voted to, they approved 305,000, so there's $59,208 of unobligated funds right now then.
they're from his budget.
But we're talking ARPA.
But that's not ARPA funds, is what I'm saying.
It now
Well,
sits
there's
in the fire department budget.
930.
Right, so how can we say we're taking that, so you want to take that amount from the ARPA money we promised him?
We promised them 305,000.
and by taking out 59,000, we're taking about $60,000 back out of ARPA.
Out of ARPA, yeah,
That's,
basically. what
I
it is.
recognize that what you say makes sense, it's logical. But what we're saying is, we'll take out of the 305, we'll take approximately 60 out.
But that was already allocated and spent, so how
That
can
I'm
we
not
take
sure.
money
Was
that
it?
was already spent?
Was it?
George, did you get the 305,000? The ARPA funds, do you know?
What's it?
Was that in your account?
George, can you come up here, please?
Was the $305,000 put in the fire?
It's nine out of your budget. The 305,000, we were in a meeting, and the last board gave the fire department 305,000.
Right.
The remaining amount, I would have to take out of my budget.
Right.
So that would either come out of.
And how much is that out of your
Fund
budget?
balance.
How much are you going to take out of your budget?
The truck's what, 300?
59,208.73. So did we already pay for the whole thing out of your budget? That's
No,
what
we
the
have not
question
paid
is.
for it yet. We have not taken delivery on it.
Okay,
Not
so
until
it's going to be
February.
305,000 will come from ARPA, and then you're going to your department's going to write a check for $59,200.
Right, that's in
Yeah,
capital
okay.
outlay.
That clearer now?
Okay. So we got to change, so,
It would just
I don't
be-
see how we can take money from him,
We're not.
from them,
We're not.
the fire
We're not
department. We
taking it.
can't touch their money. That
Tanya,
is already set
Tanya,
for.
they haven't paid for it
I'm
yet.
talking about the ARPA funds too, though.
$305,000. He's getting what was
Okay,
allocated. He spent over that, and he's taking that out of his budget.
right, so we can't do any, I think this motion needs to be changed. We can't take 59,000
I agree,
from them.
let's amend the motion.
I agree.
So I have another question.
Yes.
Has there been a request from HIDA for this amount?
There has.
Can I ask why the township board hasn't seen it?
I'm sorry, what?
Can I ask why we as a board haven't seen it?
The numbers we came up with today have just been, we just came up with them today. So their
3 minutes before
request
the
from
meeting
us
even.
was for the money that we could give them from ARPA. So
So,
that's just taken place. I mean, this hasn't happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
so has
John.
there been an informal agreement that this is a done deal?
No.
Because I'm curious why it's on their agenda with an exact dollar amount.
I looked at their agenda, it says up to. So their agenda says obligation or something about accepting funds up to 217,000. So there could be a zero amount. It just depends on what this board votes on tonight. It doesn't say that there's going to be 217,000. I saw the agenda.
It does.
It says up to.
Here's their agenda right here, Maureen. It says, accept $217,000 in ARPA funds for feasibility contract with OHM, legal expenses, and grant writer.
Well, I think
So
that the
I'm
wrong
curious,
agenda was
I'm just
posted.
curious
The
how,
wrong agenda was posted,
I
Tanya.
want to talk to your lawyer.
That's the agenda that I was sent.
From Harson's Island,
so I'm
Gmail sent it.
curious how HIDA has a dollar amount and they're going to approve it before the township board even approves this, and I as a trustee even know about it.
Transparency.
The
That's where I
agenda
thought we were
was
going
the
with this
answer.
board. I
That
thought we were a
was the only
transparent
agenda
board.
I got. Alls I did was upload it to the website.
Well, I'm
The
sure we
problem
can
is,
change
though,
the
we've
agenda.
only got till the 31st, or this money, I have to send that money
I understand.
back-
We have a
back to
board
the
meeting on
government.
Monday that I would assume we could have approved all of this.
Well, why don't, okay.
HIDA
The
has a meeting.
DPW requests, I guess
HIDA
everybody else
doesn't have
has what
their-
they need.
HIDA has to get,
Saturday.
Pardon me?
HIDA has to have their meeting too before the end.
Why does HIDA even have to be in the loop?
Because if we're going to award the money to hold on, if we're going to award the money to HIDA, okay, and then HIDA doesn't do anything with it, guess what? 31st comes around, it's going
I
back.
understand that, but I want to know who sat down and said, okay, we're going to pull the rug on the DPW projects. We're going to take this money back out of the fire department, out of the water department, and let's do something with it. Let's give it to
I did.
HIDA.
I did on the budget because it was 305, that was over budget.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You said you haven't talked to the DPW director. He comes in your office every day, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Why wasn't this discussion had before you even talk about it going to HIDA? Why are we yanking it out from him and going, let's find a place to put it, oh, let's give it to HIDA?
I'm going to need a contract or something, I mean,
Jerry?
Yeah.
I have 3 quotes here for materials, and I have 1 for the installation of the building.
quotes isn't what, I got
Jerry,
the,
all you gotta do is ask me, and I will get you a contract.
Which I think then we could have approved at our next meeting, done deal. Stinks to high heaven to me.
well, you see, John, we can, now we're doing this right now, so if we do it on the next meeting.
Okay,
we've got
I'll ask you
time.
another
We've
question,
got-
Jerry,
we've
I'll ask you
got to
another
get this
question.
done.
You've got 1, 2, 3, you got 6 pages here and a summary of a whole bunch of numbers. I get an email 2 days ago that we're gonna have a special meeting. I'm here tonight, I've never seen any of this prior to. So I'm supposed to sit here in a 20-minute period and make a decision on hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They left me with nothing. I had to ask them, paperwork-wise, no, they left me with nothing. I had to call the auditors to get what was given and what contracts were given in 2022 and 2023.
Okay,
last
when the special meeting was set.
And I had to put all the receipts
Could I have
together and all
not
the
gotten
contracts
this?
together.
No,
We didn't have-
when the special meeting was set, those numbers weren't even available.
Right.
And when we had the November 18th meeting, if you remember, I complained that, oh, we're going to decide on $238,000 tonight without having us sit down to talk about it.
Maureen, we had a
This is
special,
the same thing.
we had 2 special ARPA meetings and went over all that.
We were
I
supposed
have
to
the
have,
minutes right here from those special
we
ARPA
were
meetings.
supposed to have another ARPA meeting. We gave $150,000 for water meters. That was just decided, and the board said yes, and $88,000 to the police for the resource officer and something else. We didn't have a meeting about it. They asked this board to spend $238,000, and the board got to vote yes or no. That's what we're doing tonight.
Well,
Same thing.
I will say this.
It was
keep in
done the
mind-
same day.
Keep in mind, though, the previous board was in full authority until November 20th. It's not like, you call them a lame duck, they weren't a lame duck. They have
They
to
said-
conduct business until November 20th.
They said specifically that if the new board wanted to make changes, they could.
Okay.
I made the argument that I know the new board's not going to leave that money sitting on the table.
I would hope not.
But Supervisor Bryson said he actually raised his voice to me and said, I'm going to make sure this money is allocated. So
And I thought
they
we were done
made
with it.
They made decisions.
But we're going beyond allocating, Maureen. We're now going back on what we agreed to, promised department heads, and now we're yanking it and going, hey, let's give it to a third party, not even affiliated with the township, autonomous
It's a
governing body.
subdivision. It's a subdivision of Clay Township.
No, it's
that's-
not.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely not.
It has, I can show you
Absolutely
the
not.
article.
It stands on its own.
I can show you in the
No, you
articles.
can't.
That's the truth.
In any event, this is where we're at.
Okay. I'm stating my opinion and telling you how I adamantly disagree with it.
Okay.
I think it's wrong for our departments, I think it's wrong for our citizens.
Is there any further discussion?
Well,
Can I remake the motion?
Yeah.
So the motion is that we will make sure that $305,000 is awarded to the fire fund for the fire pumper, and that the other $59,208.73 is going to come out of the fire fund as agreed. That's my motion.
Or do a roll call?
give me 1 second, please.
It's the top line there if you need the numbers.
No, I got it, I'm just. All right. John DeBoyer?
No.
Brian Campbell?
No.
Mark Burchard?
No.
Maureen Bory?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
Yes?
Tanya Hogan? No. Jerry Gulka?
Yes.
The motion fails.
So how much are we going to give?
Motion failed.
How much are we going to give him? I mean, what's the amount going to be given? I guess we have to make another motion. Somebody has to make another motion.
Well, the motion would be to keep things as they are, I think. Would they?
I'll make a motion that the balance for the DPW of $75,000 for a pole barn, and the $150 that we put in to reimburse the budget be left in place as we agreed. That's my motion.
I second.
Any discussion? I think we all know where we're at. Do you want to do a roll call?
Okay. Paul Cassidy?
No?
Maureen Bory?
No.
Mark Burchard?
Yes.
John DeBoyer?
Yes?
Jerry Gulka?
No.
Tanya Hogan? Yes.
Brian Campbell.
No.
Brian Campbell?
Motion fails.
The motion fails. Is there another motion?
I'll make a motion that we allocate $48,647 as agreed out of the ARPA funds for the DPW excavator And the remainder of the amount, $4,624.49, will come out of the DPW budget so that we are giving that excavator as promised, the ARPA funds.
That's what it is, status quo.
I second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, so where does the 150,000 go?
Oh, no one's decided that yet.
Well, we're pulling it out of his budget, where are we gonna put it?
I bet it goes to Ivan.
That'll be another motion.
That wasn't the motion right now, right?
No. Motion right now is
We were- That wasn't an issue there.
No, but it's hard for me to make a decision on whether I wanna pull it out or not,
Okay.
unless I know where it's going.
So
That's
Jerry,
all, that's the only thing I'm asking.
Jerry?
I agree.
Well,
There has to be a motion made for that. We can't make the motion, we got,
we have a motion on the table, right? Right.
we vote yes or no on this one.
And the motion is on the $48,000, correct?
Yeah.
On the excavator.
But isn't the 150 included in that motion?
No.
No, it
No, it's
wasn't.
just this, it's just saying we're gonna give the excavator as promised for $48,647, and the $4,624.49, the overage over what we promised, is gonna come out of his fund. So, we're gonna give him ARPA funds of $48,647.
Which was budgeted and approved by the last board.
Status quo.
Any further discussion? We do a roll call?
I have one question. Lance, are you going to be able to buy that excavator with this?
I have it already.
You have it? Okay.
I have a question, Lance. Did you paid $53,000 for it?
Yes.
And the board approved that for ARPA funds?
No.
The whole amount?
That was brought to a meeting,
$48,647 was approved.
but it was approved at a meeting that it would up the ARPA funds when I brought it back to the board.
Okay.
I wrote another letter to the board and explained to them that the machine that I originally priced was not available, and we had to up it in order to get the machine that I wanted.
And that was the 53,000?
Correct,
And they approved that to give you out of ARPA funds?
correct.
Okay.
So is that 4,000 still available to pull it out?
No, he spent
Yeah,
53,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm making a point.
Okay,
So it's a mute.
that's it, yep. Any further discussion?
What was the motion again?
The motion was to take the 4624 out of the cost of that excavator, but apparently that excavator was 53,000. So that's the motion. It was seconded, we can vote.
Okay, Mark Burchard?
No.
John DeBoyer?
No.
Tanya Hogan? No. Brian Campbell?
No.
Jerry Galka?
Yes.
Paul Cassidy?
No.
Maureen Bory?
No.
So that motion failed. Is there a motion on the $150,000?
I'll make the motion to have the $150,000 removed from the water fund and to be made available for whatever the board is going to wish on a motion where they might want to put it. But as the last board said, we are able to change that decision. I don't believe water meters is something good to spend $150,000 on. So I propose we remove that $150,000 from the water fund and have it available as ARPA funds at the board's discretion.
Second? Is there a second?
So, I was just told that we're under a crunch to get this money spent and allocated. Now we're going to pull it out and just put it in limbo?
We're going to vote tonight on where to put it.
Okay. I'd also like to make another comment in light of today's events. The river crossing to Harson's Island, the water main river crossing, We may, I know it's scheduled, I would hope this board's going to move forward with the second crossing to the island. We may be, or at least have some thought in our head about it, that crossing that's currently in place may need to be retired. We may need 2 crossings. So we may want to think about possibly having some money available for something like that in the near future. Because this could be the shot across the bow with this failure, that river crossing that's there now could be nearing its life cycle.
I can only tell you that we have all the permits for the new crossing, and it's being put out for public bid now.
Okay.
So this second line is going to be put in expeditiously.
But what I'm saying, Paul, is
I know what
if we
you're
put the second line
I
in,
know that.
we may have to put another second line in and retire that.
That's an unknown.
It is. But I'm just saying, so I hate to pull money and just go, let's put it somewhere else.
Well, is that what we're going to put it for?
I don't know
Take
yet.
the 150 and put it to that? They're saying we're paying for meters we already paid for.
Well, we're pulling it out of his budget is what we're doing.
Well, we're pulling it out of the ARPA funds that were put into his budget.
That were put into his budget.
That's right.
Right. So we're going to pull it out of his budget and put it where?
Well, that'll be another motion, the board,
How do we
that
know
was my
that?
motion, that the board will decide,
Well-
at the board's wishes.
I'm
We can
opposed.
take the money out and make a decision. What are we going to do with it then?
Okay.
Want to put it back in? Put it back in.
Okay, but we do have a deadline, like Jerry just said.
Yeah,
We have to
agreed.
make a decision quickly, right?
Yeah, and obviously, we cannot use that money for a new second line.
No, but
Okay.
if it's left in the budget, it helps for
can be.
things like that.
Yeah, but then you've not obligated it, have you? Really? You haven't obligated?
But we don't have to obligate that 150. That's already in his budget. It's
No,
already
no.
been obligated. It's already reimbursed the
No,
full.
we have to have a contract to spend that money.
It's already done.
Yeah.
We have to have a signed contract, or it has to be obligated to
It's
someone.
already spent.
We did it, though. We reimbursed the fund. We reimbursed the fund.
For the water meters, yeah, that's what it was
No,
spent for.
but we reimbursed the water department. We reimbursed it. That's already an obligation.
And I don't know about having 2 brand-new second lines. I think the second line, the reason for the second line
Be
was,
careful what you say, Maureen.
well, I mean, I think the reason. for
There's
the-
1,000 houses over there out of water right now, and it could be days
But
before it
can I
comes
finish?
back on.
The
Sure, go
reason
ahead.
for the second line is because this line is so old. Now, when we have a new line, yes, it would be great to have a second line, but we'll have some time, a little bit of time for that. This line was put in 1978.
But
You know, it's
do you
really
understand why
old.
we need 2? We need redundancy, so this does not happen, what's going on right now.
Well, I know Supervisor Bryson told us that they've been told for years that there was supposed to be a second line, and it was never put in. And that's why this, the last board had it on the table to do.
Let me tell you, I've been beating that drum for a long, long time about a second feed. A long time.
Yeah.
And here we are,
I
our
know.
worst nightmare.
I know.
But isn't that something we should keep in mind as a board? Like, we should learn from what has gone on and make better choices? Maybe having 2 lines, so we're not in a predicament again, is better for the community?
We also have some safety issues with the current ferry system that we need to consider for the Hudson's Island residents.
Yeah, I think it's funny, but, if there's an ice jam and somebody's having a heart attack and the ferry can't get the ambulance over there, or something's going on, there needs to be 2. There needs to be 2 entrances into the island.
Look, there's no sense in engaging
Yeah,
in
let's not
conversation.
get off track.
Let's just discuss it amongst
I
ourselves.
think Lance wants to.
Yeah, Lance.
Our
Okay,
district
use the
engineer
bathroom.
told me today that hopefully, this line that we're going to try to fix,
Yeah.
if that line's not able to be fixed, we're going to have to run a new line.
Oh, I know that.
And he made sure today that when he talked to me, he says, you are still going to run a second line if you have to run this line again.
I've talked to John Monty, I know that.
Well, this is not John Monty, this is straight through Eagle.
Oh, okay,
This is our district engineer through the state of Michigan.
all right.
All right, let's move on with our.
Did anybody
What are we
second
doing?
that motion?
Apparently not.
What was the motion?
To remove the 150,000 from the water fund?
So who supported that?
Who did? Jerry did? Okay. Take a roll call.
Roll call, John DeBoyer?
No?
Tanya Hogan? No. Brian Campbell?
No.
Jerry Galka,
Yes.
Paul Cassidy.
Yes.
Maureen Bory,
Yes.
Mark Burchard.
No.
Motion failed.
I can't see pulling any money out of the water department.
Appreciate you,
I
Mark.
don't think there's any more motions, but, all right. That concludes the new business. It can be public comment. No one wants to speak to, pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry.
Before we adjourn,
Yeah,
Mr. Supervisor, not to put you on the spot, but could we get any type of a summary or update on where we're at with what's going on?
Oh, I can, yeah.
Please.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So, at this point in time, we've not been able to go into the water to locate the break because of the high winds. We have a company and a diver ready to go in as soon as the weather breaks and the wind dies down.
Okay.
At that point, they'll blow air into the line, they'll look for bubbling, they'll go down, they'll take hopefully, a type of a compression clamp and repair it.
Okay.
But the weather may not break till Saturday, so this may continue until Saturday.
So we don't have a timeline yet?
No, we don't. And we do have, obviously, substantial water resources being taken to the fire department on the island, and it does not affect the mainland.
Okay. So are we, bottled water, all that stuff?
It's been taken to the
Yes.
fire department.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
The updates are put on the website as we get them, right?
Yeah, we'll update it. John.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.